Again, welcome to the St. Paul Police Award Ceremony. This is Chief Tom Smith's first award ceremony as our chief, and he will be presenting 7 officers with the Department's Medal of Valor today for 2 separate incidents. What is Valor? Our department manual describes it as Medal of Valor, awarded to a member who, conscious of danger, intelligently and in the line of police duty, distinguishes her or himself by the performance of an act of gallantry and valor at imminent personal hazard to life above and beyond the call of duty. And some dictionary definitions describe it as strength of mind or spirit that enables a person to encounter danger with firmness. Boldness or determination in facing great danger, especially in battle, heroic courage or bravery. And some notable people have talked about valor as well. On the 19th of May, 1940, Winston Churchill gave his first BBC broadcast to the British public as Prime Minister. The title of it was Be Ye Men of Valor. And he said, "I speak to you for the first time as Prime Minister in a solemn hour for the life of our country, our empire, of our allies, and above all, the cause of freedom. No officer or man, no brigade or division which grapples at close quarters with the enemy, wherever encountered, can fail to make a worthy contribution to the general result." Sir Walter Scott, a Scottish novelist and poet, said, "Real valor consists not in being insensible to danger, but in being prompt to confront and disarm it." And lastly, Carl Sandburg, who was an American writer and poet and 3-time Pulitzer Prize winner, said, "Valor is a gift. Those having it never know for sure whether they have it till the test comes. And those having it in one test never know for sure if they will have it when the next test comes." These 7 officers being recognized today have clearly demonstrated that they have this gift. So where does this gift of valor come from? What is the motivation that causes police officers to stay and fight the fight, or even run towards the danger instead of away from it? If you ask people why they became a police officer, you'll get a variety of answers, and I'm not going to take up your time by trying to list them all. Instead, I want to talk briefly about the part we as officers don't always recognize or acknowledge ourselves. Thinking back to September 11, 2001, and the time right after that, those of us who were working probably remember that more and more people would come up to us and say, "Thank you for doing what you do." And during that time, I had friends, family, and even strangers thank me for being a police officer, and then adding to the statement, "I don't know how you can do what you do, but thank you." And it took me by surprise the first couple of times, and then I thought about what would I offer as an answer rather than just saying thank you. And I came up with the following as a way to try to help people who aren't in this line of business understand why we do what we do. No one becomes a police officer to get rich. If money is your top motivator, you're in the wrong job and you will not likely make it through a 30-year career here. Not because the pay is extremely terrible, but because of what I call the 5%. I would say that for 95% of what we do, we are fairly well compensated. It's the other things that make up the other 5% that call the question. When someone is spitting on you, when you go to a domestic and you pull the suspect off of the victim to stop the assault, and now you're fighting with the suspect and the victim. When you're chasing someone around the neighborhood, through the yards, over the fences, through traffic, and when you catch them, you still have to fight with them. When someone comes at you with a baseball bat, a knife, a gun, when you have to be the one to pull the small child out of the burning car or out of a car accident wreck. This is the 5%, and there is not enough money in the world to make you want to do these things based on money. The desire to do these things for our fellow man comes from the heart. If you don't have it in your heart to put yourself in harm's way simply because it is what you're supposed to do, then you will never be able to do great things as a police officer. This greatness, this valor, I believe it comes from God, and the officers we are recognizing here today clearly possess this greatness, this thing we call valor. For introducing our guests at the head table here, to my left, your right, is Chief Thomas Smith, Mayor Chris Coleman, and I forgot our chaplain, Reverend Richard Andrews, I forgot his first name, and Police Federation President David Titus. I'll now introduce our mayor, Honorable Chris Coleman, who will say a few words. Mayor Coleman took office in 2006, and he was reelected in 2009. As the 45th mayor of St. Paul, he brings a wealth of experience to the office as an attorney, a community and neighborhood leader, an investment advisor, and city council member. He's also guided by his experience as a lifelong resident of St. Paul, whose family has deep roots in the community. Mayor Coleman is proud of his hometown and passionate about making St. Paul the most livable city in America. Mayor Coleman has put bridging the education gap at the score of his agenda. His early childhood learning initiative, the second shift after school initiatives, and access to college information, resources, and scholarships are revolutionizing the role city government plays in education. He has marshaled the best minds and resources to enrich the lives of children by extending social and academic opportunities beyond the school day, opening new doors of opportunity to a better life, creating a safe environment for them to live and play. In January of this year, the National League of Cities recognized Mayor Coleman's work in education, naming him as chair of their 2010 Council on Youth Education and Families. The council works to assist municipal leaders in identifying, developing effective programs for strengthening families and improving outcomes of the children and youth. Mayor Coleman lives on the west side of St. Paul with his wife Connie. He has two children, one teenage child who is still in the St. Paul Public Schools. Our Mayor, Chris Coleman.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see your faces here. I appreciate getting a chance to speak early here because I got to get back to plowing as soon as I'm done with this event. So in preparation for another 6 inches potentially of snow tonight. So we're going to have a fun winter. Let's sit back, get used to it. It is Minnesota. It's going to be fun. The chief and I have, on a number of occasions recently, had an opportunity to honor citizens that have really stood out in terms of heroic efforts, heroic deeds that they have accomplished. Bank clerks that have put themselves in harm's way during a very tense situation. People that have talked suicidal folks off of bridges. People that have assisted somebody that had a heart attack. And there are a number of stories, and they're really very powerful stories. But I call those folks kind of accidental heroes. Not to diminish their accomplishments, but just to say that those are folks that happen to be in a particular situation by accident, and then their instincts, or they're either kicked on or kicked off, because I think most of our instincts sometimes would be to run the other way and to not get involved. But these accidental heroes were people that really did some amazing things. Today, we honor what I would call purposeful heroes. People who have been trained to be the person that goes into situations that other folks are fleeing from. People that have, that every day of their life know that they may be called upon to go into a situation where there's an armed suspect, go into a situation like the incident out by the State Fair, where there was incredibly dangerous situations or an incredibly dangerous scene, but knew that they weren't the people that could turn away and wait for somebody else to come along. They purposefully went into the scene. They purposefully took action, and they have, because of their actions, purposefully saved others' lives. The situation out last December, where Officer Bailey was shot. The situation in this, by the State Fair last August. Those were both incredibly dangerous situations. The incident at the fair was a situation where, you can imagine, on a day, one of the big days of the State Fair, hundreds of thousands of people going by when the electrical power wire falls to the ground and literally a person is there about to die, but for the actions of the officers that went to that scene. These are truly heroic efforts. They don't surprise me because I know, and I've talked about this before, I expect nothing less of the men and women of this department. You've been trained to do it. Your calling is to do it. Your passion is to do it. You're heroes every day, and you do it because of beautiful babies like that. What gorgeous kids we have here today. My kids are a little bit older, as Dan said. I'm not quite ready to be a grandpa, but I always appreciate beautiful, beautiful babies, especially because what we do here today, honoring our heroes of the department, kind of reminds us what this is all about. Last winter, after Adam was shot, I went up to the hospital just to say hi and to tell him that we really appreciated what he did. And I was struck by his fellow officers that were there gathered to keep him company, to protect him, to make sure that he was safe, that he had everything that he needed, that the family had everything that they needed. And I thought about why they did that. Obviously, it was because a colleague of theirs had been injured in the line of duty, but there was something more. I think every one of those officers, everyone on the department was painfully aware that there but for the grace of God, they were. There but for the grace of God, they could be the person that was lying there in the hospital. And but for God's further grace, that situation could have been much worse. We were fortunate that it wasn't. But every one of you in this room knows that at any moment, that situation could have been very different, and the outcome could have been very different. But you do your job every day, you do it anyways, you do it in full knowledge of the risk that you take. You are purposeful heroes. Today we honor 7, but every day we honor all of you. Thank you for being a part of this great department and this great city.
I'm now going to ask Reverend Richard Andrews to come up and give an invocation. Father Rick Andrews is a volunteer chaplain. He's chaplain number 5 with the St. Paul Police Department. He's been doing that since 2005. He currently serves at St. George Greek Orthodox Church on Summit Avenue in Lexington in St. Paul. He's married, and I should have asked you how to pronounce your wife's name before I got up here, so I apologize if I... Okay. His wife, Jane, and he has a son, Theodore. He's a graduate of the University of Minnesota with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Marketing, and he also graduated from Holy Cross Greek Orthodox Seminary in Massachusetts with a Master's of Divinity. Father Rick Andrews.
Thank you, Commander. If you're able, please stand. Let us pray. Heavenly God, throughout history, you have set before us people who are models of behavior. Various prophets, saints, teachers, and martyrs who show us the greatest and highest form of love, the willingness to lay down one's life for the other person's safety and salvation. Bless all of our officers who take up this mantle of love, care, and concern for others. Bless them as they carry it to protect us, to serve us, to keep us safe and secure. Bless especially those officers whom we recognize today: Adam, Stephen, Thomas, Jermaine, Jason, Todd, and Justin, for their exemplary conduct of bravery and courage. Bless them as they become models to us, to lead us and inspire us by their actions. Finally, we ask you to bless the food and drink of these your servants, for you are holy always, now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen.
I'll now introduce our Chief Thomas Smith, who will give out the awards. Thomas Smith has been with the St. Paul Police Department for 21 years. He's worked in a variety of assignments, and he currently serves as our 40th Chief of Police. Prior to his appointment, he was Assistant Chief of the Operations Division. He has strongly held beliefs in community principles and has long history of working with the many diverse communities which make St. Paul so special. Tomas is a proud graduate of the FBI National Academy and is also a graduate of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Public Relations and a master's degree in Education and Leadership from the University of St. Thomas. His extensive experience in training in homeland security issues and most recently completed counterterrorism training in the Middle East. Tomas is a graduate of the Wilder Foundation James P. Shannon Leadership Institute, which includes personal development and leadership study with individuals throughout the United States. He resides on St. Paul's West Side with his wife and family. He has a special compassion for the neighborhood in which he was raised. He's a graduate of Humboldt High School and a strong supporter and board member of the Neighborhood House, and also volunteers at the Boys and Girls Club on the West Side. For the past 3 years, he has co-led a mentor program at Humboldt High School for at-youth risk. Serving more than 50 students of color, the mentor program has documented many success stories, including improved student attendance, a reduction in school violence, and most importantly, an increase in school achievement. He believes in our youth and our future, and to this end deserves both guidance and support to achieve their dreams. He serves as a board member of the Midway Chamber of Commerce and a number of professional organizations, including the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association. Chief Tom Smith.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. First off, it's important. It's holiday time of the year. Happy holidays to everybody. Please be safe and enjoy them with your family. It's always funny because when you get a speaker, you get somebody to give their bio and all these other things, and you're thinking about all this stuff. I'm just a normal, simple guy. And actually, my biggest degree is from the School of Hard Knocks, not from my master's or any of those other things. But my greatest accomplishment is serving the men and women of this department and the men and women and the families of our city. And that's what I have the biggest passion for. And that's why we're here today, to hear some stories, unbelievable stories about men and women in our department that have done extraordinary things. I just want to take 1 second. The Medal of Valor for the people that are here today, and I talked to some families early this morning before we started our breakfast. This is a tradition and a history that has served our department for decades. It's very important. The Medal of Valor, to achieve it, it's the highest award that the city and the department can bestow upon one of our officers. And it is scrutinized heavily. It's scrutinized by a committee. It's then scrutinized by command staff. It's then scrutinized by assistant chiefs before it even comes to my desk. So it is not something that is taken lightly. The officers that have achieved the Medal of Valor have done, again, extraordinary things. Young kids ask us all the time, you can ask all the officers in here when we go and talk at schools about, are all of your officers heroes? And we hear about heroism and other things. And yes, they are heroes. But most of us in here are pretty humble people, right, guys and gals? I would say that we are. So what I like to tell young people is that our officers get put in extraordinary, and I mean extraordinary, circumstances, and they're brave enough to seek that challenge. Because they have to put themselves, as you heard earlier from the mayor, in harm's way. They don't get to check out and go home. You have to unlearn everything that we've learned as a child. It's actually kind of fun. Because when you're a cop, you got to throw caution to the wind. And all the officers in here know exactly what I'm talking about. So when we're real young, what are we first taught about? Don't play with matches and stay away from fire and things that are hot. But we regularly, and I don't see any of our fire brethren here this morning, run into burning buildings without, just to try to get people out when we're there before fire gets there. I know I've done it myself and later on said, what the heck was I thinking? It is something else. We're taught, and so many parents in here, don't we dread when we first have our children that are driving? Don't drive fast. But St. Paul police officers have to drive fast to catch bad guys and bad girls that have done bad things. Now, we do that with caution, and we do that with due care and supervision, but we have to do everything different. But probably the most important is all of us know, we teach our children and we've learned ourselves that when you feel that something's out of sort, something's out of place, when you feel like you're walking into a dangerous situation, go the other way. Seek shelter. But our officers, and I want you to realize this because I'm so proud, every single day have to seek that danger. They don't get to turn the other way. That's why there's such a brotherhood and a sisterhood in law enforcement, because many people, except for our extended families, don't understand the stressors that these officers go through every day. The two incidents that we'll hear about today have a common theme. You will hear about one situation that was deadly force encounter. the most dangerous situation we can become involved with. Number two, we'll hear about an accident that turned deadly, that could have taken people's lives, and officers, again, that ran to that danger with a common theme of taking care of each other and making sure our city's a safer place. Truly, truly, truly amazing stories that you will hear today. And there are so many other stories of officers that are here that don't always hit the paper, that you don't always hear about. And I just want to tell you as your chief how proud I am of everybody that's in this room. With that, I will read the Medal of Valor citations here. I would let everybody know again that the Medal of Valor is the highest award in the St. Paul Police Department. It is given to department members who, conscious of danger, intelligently, and in the line of police duty, distinguishes himself or herself by the performance of an act of gallantry and valor at imminent personal hazard to life above and beyond the call of duty. The following officers have distinguished themselves in this manner, and I am proud to present them with the Department Medal of Valor. Can I please have the following officers just step off to the side here, and that will be Officers Adam Bailey. Adam, can you come up? Thomas Weinzettel. And Stephen Bobrowski. The first incident occurred on December 9th, 2009, with officers Adam Bailey, Stephen Bobrowski, and Thomas Weinzettel. On December 8th, 2009, officers Adam Bailey and Thomas Weinzettel were held over to assist with calls following a fatal shooting, and a search for the suspects was in progress. Information was broadcast that the homicide suspects may be located at a Maryland Avenue apartment complex. Now, I want to stop for a second and let you know that we had already had a homicide. We already had the scene secured. I want to show you how some people don't think very brightly, and they decide that they want to continue the violence and actually go back to the first scene, just to kind of paint the picture of what these officers are going back to. So we think that we've buttoned up the first crime scene. We have victims down at Regions Hospital. We're looking for suspects, but they decide to go back. Officers Bailey, Weinzettel, Stephen Bobrowski, and others responded and were told by a witness that the suspects had just escaped through a window. Bailey and Weinzettel proceeded through the window, which led to a courtyard, while Officer Bobrowski went out the apartment complex door. One of the suspects was running from Officers Bailey and Weinzettel when Officer Bobrowski came from the other direction and ordered him to show his hands. He had one hand inside his jacket while the other was holding the jacket closed, as if to conceal something. Officers had the suspect cornered, but he refused to show his hands, even after being ordered to do so repeatedly. Officer Bobrowski deployed his taser, and the suspect fell to the ground on his stomach with his hands underneath him. Officers approached the suspect quickly, but were very aware that he was likely hiding a weapon, posing a major threat to all of them. As officers struggled to bring the suspect's arms out from under him, a gunshot went off, and Officer Bailey was struck in the calf. Injured and fearing for his safety, and most importantly, the safety of his fellow officers, Officer Bailey returned fire. Officers Bobrowski and Weinzettel also fired their weapons. The suspect died from his wounds. Thankfully, Officer Bailey recovered from his injuries and was able to return to work after a couple of months. All three officers displayed extraordinary courage during this intense and life-threatening encounter. This is Officer Bailey's second Medal of Valor, as we said earlier. The first was for an incident that occurred on April 6, 2009. Let's give all three officers a round of applause. You can all have a seat. Thank you. And in the light of time, we're going to have Officer Bailey speak for the group here. So, Tom, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. Standing up here is a tremendous honor, and it's a humbling experience, sitting in front of so many of my colleagues, friends, and family. And for those of you who know me, I promise, and I mean this when I say that this will be short. So, when they asked me to speak on behalf of Officer Weinzettel and Bobrowski, we spoke briefly about some people that we wanted to make sure that we acknowledged as well and say thank you. First and foremost, we'd like to say thank you to our families and loved ones for all the support and encouragement that we've received, not only during this incident, but throughout our lives and certainly our careers in law enforcement. And we recognize that, you know, our careers and jobs can sometimes cause stresses and things with the family as well. And so we appreciate all of that love and support that we've had over the years. Second of all, we'd like to thank Chief Smith, the Commendation Review Board, for this tremendous honor and being recognized for that incident. Thirdly, we really wanted to make sure that we acknowledged that the other officers that were there, and there were way too many to try and name, and in fear of leaving somebody out, we just want to make sure that we acknowledge what a great job and the appreciation that we have for all the other officers that were on scene and that responded to those apartments that night. And personally, I want to kind of expand on that. After I was shot and I was laying on the ground, there couldn't have been anything more relaxing and calming as seeing all those other shirts in blue and all those friendly faces and friends that I had there, and hearing all those sirens come in my direction. That brought such an ease during that time when I was injured. And I know as officers, we kind of know how we can all come together during those kind of incidents, and we take care of each other and we pull together, like Mayor Coleman mentioned, with all the support that I had in the hospital and afterwards. But the people who don't realize that all the time are our parents and our families. So on behalf of my parents and my family, I want to say thank you to everybody that showed them such love and respect and support at the time when I was in the hospital. So thank you very much.
The second incident occurred on August 31st of this year during the State Fair, like the mayor said, 2010, with officers Jermaine Davis, Jason Giampolo, Todd Ludvik, and Justin Tiffany. Will those officers please come forward? Again, I spoke about common themes of taking care of each other. Some situations involved really bad people. Some situations just happen. This is one of those type of situations that could have turned deadly, not only for one individual, but for an entire family if it wasn't for these officers. And I will read the citation. On August 31st, 2010, officers Jermaine Davis, Jason Giampolo, Todd Ludvik, and Justin Tiffany were working the State Fair detail near the intersection of Underwood and Como when a semi-truck struck a high-voltage electrical pole and live wires fell on 5 people. Imagine that. This is something that you see in a reality show. It's amazing. The 4 officers immediately began working as a team without any hesitation for their safety. They radioed for assistance and for medics. There were large crowds of people in the area creating a chaotic scene. The officers ordered citizens to stay clear and moved some out of harm's way. Officer Giampolo then ran to assist the man in a chair on the sidewalk. He had a power line on his legs and was convulsing. Officer Giampolo quickly decided to kick the chair out from underneath the man, although he had advised others not to touch him since he may still have been electrically charged. Officer Giampolo pulled the man to the middle of the street and away from the wires so that medics could render aid. Officer Giampolo put a shirt under his head to try to prevent further injury as the man continued to shake uncontrollably. Officers Davis, Ludvik, and Tiffany quickly went to assist a family that was caught between live wires and a snow fence. Basically, they were trapped. The live wire was on the father's shoulder and also was lying across a stroller. Now think of that, with all our babies here, causing it to bounce up and down, this live wire. The officers ran under the down power lines to reach the mother and 2 children, while Officer Tiffany assisted the father, who was slumped over the fence. The officers brought the family to a nearby building for medics to assess their injuries. These officers demonstrated great composure and acted valiantly during this frightening and dangerous encounter. And I've got to tell you, I hope you can picture this. When I first heard this in my office, I was in disbelief, and I know others in the city heard the same story, and it quickly got out to the media, and I said, this can't be real. Nobody could have survived this with downed electrical wires over a baby's carriage, on someone's lap, on someone's shoulders. These officers ran in there knowing that they put their lives at risk to take care of them. For that, I am very, very honored to award each one of them a Medal of Valor, and let's give them a loud round of applause. And I believe Officer Giampolo is going to be the spokesperson for the group here.
Well, I'm not quite as smooth as Officer Bailey here. I got something written out here. I promise it won't take real long. Whew, different standing up here. Very different. Thank you, Chief Smith, Mayor Coleman, members of the Accommodation Review Board, and everyone here for attending, for all of us. I was asked by Chief Smith to say a few words on behalf of Officer Jermaine Davis, Officer Todd, Ludvik, Officer Justin, Tiffany, and myself. It's an honor and privilege for all of us to be recognized for our actions and to receive this award. As many of you know, in this line of work, things can happen fast and everything can change in an instant. All we can do is our best and hope our decisions and actions make a positive impact to the citizens of St. Paul. On this day, the incident was no different. We were assigned to a relatively mundane task of directing traffic and pedestrian flow at the State Fair, as everyone here has probably worked. In an instant, things changed. We did what officers do every day, react to the situation that unfolded in front of us. We were able to quickly work together and formulate a plan to remove people out of harm's way and extract Mr. Jackson from the power lines. I can say any of my fellow officers would have done the same thing. It's a great honor to receive this award and to have all of you here. I'd like to thank all of our families, friends, and coworkers that have taken the time to be here with us today. Before I wrap this up, I'd like to send a special thank you to Mr. Jackson, who I haven't met yet, but I will after this, and his family, his wife, for being here. It does make this recognition more special when we see the people that we all were able to help. And once again, thank you very much.
In closing, I'd like to thank these 7 officers for their courage and their heroism. What these officers have done truly goes above and beyond the call of duty. And I'd also like to acknowledge all of our officers that are here, our brothers and sisters in law enforcement. They put their lives on the line every day for the people of St. Paul. And I don't need my script for this because I tell people all the time, it's not about the St. Paul Police Department, it's about what the St. Paul Police Department can do for others. Those are the stories that you've heard today. Those are the people that we recognize. And before I sit down, let's recognize one other group here. I hope that you'll all do that with me. You know what? We can't do our job without the support of families. All the family members are here, the cooing babies that are so good. I don't know what you guys did and what you put in their milk, but we've got a lot of babies here, and they've been very good. But it's the family that supports these officers. They are truly part of our extended family. All of you, you are. You go through the same stress because every single day these officers put on their uniform, nobody knows if they're going to come back in that door at the end of their tour. Those are the stresses that families live with. Our loved ones, our grandparents, our fathers, our mothers, our daughters, our children. So it's important. So let's give them a round of applause for what they do for us.
We'll now have a time for remarks and some words from our Federation President, David Titus.
Very quickly, you know, for cops, you make a conscious decision on, are you going to live in the community you work? There's two schools of thought on that. Do you really want to work in the same area that you deal with a bad guy or bad guys on a daily basis? Or do you live in the community and work in the same community and raise your family there? Well, for me, my personal choice is to live in this community in St. Paul. And it's not right or wrong, but the reason, one of the main reasons I do it and I work here is because of this list. These cops here are phenomenal. And every cop out there is phenomenal. And for you guys to be added to this list, and Adam Bailey, who's got me on speed dial, will go on here another time. I just want to say that I want to relay to you on behalf of the Federation that we are extremely proud to work with you, you guys and you gals as a whole, because you keep our families and you keep our lives, keep us safe. So thank you very, very, very much.
Let us pray. Heavenly God, we thank you for the officers we have recognized today. We thank you for each and every officer of the St. Paul Police Department and their families and loved ones. We ask you to shelter them under your wings and protect them. Deliver them from all evil, harm, danger, and distress, so that through the faithful conduct of their duties, we may live peaceful and serene lives in all piety and holiness. Grant peace to your world, to those in public service, to those who work in law enforcement, and to all your people. Finally, we ask you to bless the remains of the food and drink of these your servants. Multiply them throughout the world to feed those less fortunate than ourselves. For you are holy always, now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen.